Welcome back to AllTheMons. I'm Bumstar, and now that we've got a lot of our automation and power systems running smoothly, it's time to shift focus back to Cobblemon progression. We've been catching a lot of Pokemon throughout the series, but getting Pokeballs has been kinda difficult, as the only source that we have is from our Zigzagoons, because we're getting just regular Pokeballs from it. So in this episode, we're going to automate the Pokeball production so we always have them available when we need them. And we're going to jump right to Ultra Balls. While we're at it, we're going to take on a few more gym battles to continue increasing our level cap and strengthening our team. By the end of this, catching Pokemon should be a lot easier, and we should be much further along in our Cobblemon progression. And before we get going, AllTheMons 11 just dropped. It's currently in alpha, and there's not a ton in it, but I kind of feel this need to power through the rest of this pack so I can get ready to play AllTheMons 11, because I'm super excited for that. It'll be the first time that I do a Let's Play for one of the mainstream AllTheMons packs. Really? Rain? So after this episode, we're going to start really just digging deep into getting the star crafted. But for now, we're going to automate those Ultra Balls. So before we start doing the Pokeballs, there's one thing that I want to set up. And that is going to be ME wireless connectors, as well as the ME wireless setup kit. And the reason we want to set these up is so that way we can access our entire network really anywhere within the overworld. So we're going to craft 2 of these, and we're going to craft one of the setup kits. We only need the one of this. So then we just need to figure out how we want to run these down and or up or wherever we want to put these, because these connect directly to our controller, and whatever face that we have them connected to will be the amount of channels that we'll have access to. And I think for now, we're just going to connect them to the top here, kind of running towards the edge. I'm just going to run a cable from this middle piece and just run it completely to the wall. Then we're going to put the ME wireless connector right here. But since we have this, we're going to use our wireless setup kit, and we're going to right click that on our wireless connector here. And then we're going to go ahead and place the other wireless connector right here and right click that again. As you can see, it lights up, so if we right click it, it's going to tell us that we're connected to our other wireless one. You can see it kind of in the wall here, and we have 0 out of 32 channels used. So now we can run a cable down from this one and fully use our entire network directly through this little setup. This will make automating things a lot easier because we don't need to keep it down there close to everything. We can just kind of put it wherever we want. So if we come into our quest book and we come to Master Ball, it actually gives you a step-by-step breakdown on how to make all the different Pokeballs, moving on to even the AllTheModium, Vibranium, and Unobtainium balls, and the Master Ball. We're not going to jump to this step quite yet because, well, we don't really have any of this automated, and that is absolutely something that we need to do soon. But to start out, we're just going to use this first step here to just make some of the basic ones and go right to an Ultra Ball. And to start out, Create is going to be the biggest contender here. And just a forewarning, I am very bad at Create. I haven't used it a ton, so I'm not super knowledgeable on it. But luckily we can integrate things like Mekanism, Autocrafting, even Ars Nouveau, Oritech, and then Create as well. So this setup is going to kind of be a mixture of mainly Create mixed with a little bit of Mekanism and Oritech. When you're doing this, I suggest starting on one side, getting it to the end, and then moving on to the other side to just kind of keep this going. So the first thing that we're going to make is a rubber stamp. Luckily we have everything for it, super simple to craft. And then we're going to make a CNC machine through Mekanism More Machines. And of course, we'll go ahead and make all of our tier upgrades and speed and energy upgrades for any machines we're using for Mekanism, since we have all of that available. And then we can put our stamp. I went ahead and I made the wrong one. We are definitely going to need this, but we need the CNC stamper machine first. And we can put the actual rubber stamp in here. And then we're going to also use some functional storage drawers for this whole setup, because I'd like to set this up so it's strictly for Ultra Balls and kind of keep it organized, because it is something I'm learning. So bear with me here. So let's go ahead and give this some power, and we're just going to put the power on the side for now. I will move this eventually. Might even just put it underneath so it's kind of running and unseen. But now what we want to do is we want brass in here, because we want to stamp brass to make stamped brass nuggets. So we're going to use a exporter. We're going to put the exporter on the back here, and we're going to tell it that we want brass nuggets. And we have a 22K brass essence. So we just need to set up some patterns for this. So we're going to set up the pattern to make brass ingots and then break those ingots down to nuggets. We'll place a crafting card in here, some acceleration cards, and then we'll run a cable up. So it is connected to the system. And then we just need to make sure to set up our configurations. So we want to input from the back. We want to output to the top. Turn our splitting on. And as you can see, this functional storage drawer is going to start filling up with all of this brass stamped nuggets. So now what we're going to do is place this lathe factory right next to it. We'll go ahead and put a functional storage drawer on top. You know what? We're actually going to not worry about a functional storage drawer here. We're going to set this up so it just auto outputs to our lathe because, well, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to make these brass ball bases. I went ahead and cleaned that up. So that way this is just going to automatically output to the side and this will input. So this process just stays automatic. We'll let this fill up. We have plenty in our inventory now, but that's how we make our brass ball bases. And now we have a couple different options to make our brass ball mechanism. To make that, we could use create with a 3-step process of a deployer with a brass nugget, a shaft, and the brass ball base, all put onto another brass ball base to make the brass ball mechanism. Or we could use an assembler from Oritech, which is the same ingredients, just all thrown into an assembler. And then we also have pneumatic craft with a pressure chamber. So we're going to go ahead and make all the different things we need for the assembler, as this will be the easiest thing to set up. Oh, look at that. As I'm setting this all up, we just got a shiny driftling that spawned. We are definitely going to want to try and capture you. Let's go. We got him. That's cool. Anyway, back to what we were doing. Now we're going to go ahead and place our assembler down here. And then we just need some of the machine cores from Oritech. And it doesn't matter which one you use to start with, just place them down in the pattern and then right click on the machine and it brings the whole machine out. The animations for these machines are so cool. So now if we right click on the assembler, we can check this out and we have this details default setting and you can have it so it fills evenly, or you can do the sided. And this is how I think we're going to set this up. And it goes by directions. So if you put it in from the north side, it'll go into slot 0, which is going to be this one. If you put it in the south side, it'll go to slot 2. West side will go to slot 3, and east side will go to slot 1. Up will be input only, and down will be extract only. So we're going to put 4 different export buses on this to just make sure that we're putting stuff where they need to go. So I opened this up and put power on the bottom, so that way we can clean this up a little bit. And we put a import bus on the bottom here since our output comes from the bottom. So we can break out the block right here and just feed a cable through. Make sure it's connected. Let's go ahead and run cables to all the sides of this machine. And let's go ahead and put acceleration cards on the input there, so that way we can just close this up. So now if we look at the recipe, we want a brass ball base in slot 0, and I believe brass nugget is slot 1. Let's test that out, because I'm not 100% sure. That's going to be east, which is this side. So we need to put the brass nugget here. Let's go ahead and make a crafting card. And it would probably help if I connected this all up. There we go. All right. So that means that is a slot 1. So now for slot 0, we want the base, which comes in from this. So we're going to want to, let me break that. And we're going to want to give this somewhere to live with our functional storage. I think just honestly putting an oak shore right here will be good enough. So let's set that to output. We're going to configure that to lock, and we're going to link that to our system. We want our brass ball base to go into north and west for slot 0 and 3. So north is going to be this side, and west should be this side. There we go. So that'll fill up until they're at 64. So then the last thing we need to do is set up for shafts from create. And all that is andesite, which we can set up a pattern for this because it's pretty simple. We go to our export over here, put a shaft, and then put a crafting card in here. And as soon as that starts filling up, that should start making our brass ball mechanisms and exporting them out of our system. Awesome. Let's go ahead and make sure to give this somewhere to live, so that way we don't overflow on them. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a functional storage drawer right here, and we're going to put them in this. Figure that and link it to our system. And this will limit it so we can only have 2,000 of them total. We could even set that up with a iron downgrade to reduce the amount that it's going to hold, because we don't want an absolute ton of these. We want to keep it kind of limited, because it's not like we're going to need 10,000 Ultra Balls. We could absolutely put some add-ons onto our assembler here to speed the process up and make it use less energy, but we really just don't need it, because this doesn't need to be an insanely fast setup. You can if you want to. So we actually skipped this step here because we're using the CNC lathe and the stamper to do this process, and they don't have that in the quest book, which is fine. All we'd have to do is craft one of these to complete that quest, but we're just going to move on to this one, which is our ball base, which we have. And then deploying, we set up with the assembler, and we now have our mechanism, which means we need to move on to the other side. This side's pretty simple to set up. The other side takes a bit more setup to work. And I went ahead and just made a mechanical press so that way I could go through and collect all of these quest rewards to show it's complete. So next up on this automation, we need to set it up so that way we are using our apricorns. And the first thing we're going to want to do is cut our apricorns in half. And to do that, once again, we're going to use Mekanism. We already have the advanced sawing factory from when we were making our cardboard boxes, so we're just going to make the last couple upgrades for that to speed up this process a bit. And we're actually going to want 2 of these sawing factories because we need to do the yellow apricorns and the black apricorns. So I've gone ahead and set up 2 of them right here, and we're going to go ahead and set up some export buses on the back. And then for one of these, we're going to want to put yellow apricorns, and on this one we're going to want to put black apricorns. And then just make sure to set up the input from the back, and this should start importing them in. I'm going to go ahead and put functional storage drawers on the top, and then we'll put both of our apricorn halves here inside the functional storage, link them to our system, and then set this so it outputs to the top. And make sure to turn eject on. So now those will start filling up, and we'll cap out at 2K plus whatever this holds. We're actually going to set up another precision sawmill for a different color because we need a specific one to wash to get the ball base, because we don't want to use these for that. I went ahead and set up green apricorns for this one because we're just going to turn these into blank apricorn ball lids anyway, and it doesn't look like it's really needed for anything else. So the next step that we have is going to be create. We're going to need to make a fan, and well, it's pretty simple. We just need some iron plates, a propeller, a shaft, and andesite casing. Then we're just going to place the fan right here, and we need to give it some rotational force. Now we could go about creating the electrical motor through mechanical crafting and setting this whole setup up to craft this. And it's pretty simple to get to this point, but for now we're just going to use some water power. And we're just going to use a water wheel here, place it on the back, and then we just place some water down to set this up, and it's just going to slowly wash what we put in front of it. And then we're going to use a modular router for this. Normally I would use just our things, but I don't have it set up yet. So we're going to use modular router and use a dropper module. We're going to set this puller. We're going to tell it to pull from here, from our green half apricorns, and we'll place that in here. And then for our dropper, we want to set this up so it drops down, and we should be able to place this in here and make sure to turn off our magnet. But let's see how long it takes to wash. No, I don't think this thing has enough power with just the standard water wheel setup, so I'm going to go ahead and just make the mechanical motor real quick for create, so that way we can just power it with all the power that we have. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and place our apricorn logs down. We're going to use our builder to just place an absolute ton of these. Grab our refined obsidian paxel, and we want to strip them all. Then we're going to take our brass ingots and just place it on all of these. And we're definitely not going to need this many, but we're just going to make them to have them. But this makes all of our brass casing. And then we're going to need 12 mechanical crafters, which are easy enough to make. Just our brass casing, electron tube, which you can completely automate using an enrichment chamber with rose quartz. Rose quartz is just redstone with quartz. That turns it into polished rose quartz with the enrichment chamber. That's just a iron plate and a crafting table with the brass casings we just made. Then we're just going to go ahead and place this down right here for now. We will definitely be changing the direction that we place this once we have everything else set up. And you just want to set it up like this. If you go to the pattern for the electrical motor, you just want to make sure it matches this. So now we need some brass plates, copper spools, an andesite alloy, a capacitor, and iron rods. All very, very easy to make. Copper spools are just some empty spools with copper wire. And to make the copper wire, we can use the rolling mill, which is very simple to make. And all we have to do is throw some copper in there. So we just need to give this a little power. And by power, I mean water. And did I say copper? I meant copper plates. And then you just throw your copper plates onto the rolling mill and just right click it to get your copper wires out. And then for our empty spool, it's just some copper plates with iron nuggets. And we just need to do this craft once. But all we need are 3 copper spools. We'll go ahead and just make as many as we can. 12 brass plates, 2 iron rods, 2 capacitors, and 2 andesite alloy. And now we're going to use some cogwheels to get this whole process sped up, because just a regular water wheel is not going to be enough to get this thing going. So we'll start out with a big cogwheel, move it to a small one to speed that up. Then we'll put a big cogwheel here. And we'll move it to another cogwheel to speed that up. And then that should be enough. I think we can just put a small one there, and it's too much stress, so we're going to need to make another water wheel to reduce that stress. And we'll go ahead and use a big one here. So we're just going to break out the wall here for now, because this is completely temporary. There we go. And then we're going to grab our create wrench. And we just want to make sure that we set this up so all of these little arrows are going to end over here to push out to the side. So these are all going down, these are pushing in, and then it's going to push to here. So let's go ahead and just place a barrel right there. And now we just need to put everything in there. So I believe it's andesite on the top, iron rod here, and the capacitor here. And then these are surrounded by the copper spools. And then I believe the last is just the brass plating. See if that works. There we go. It made it, and it put it in there. So let's just make another one, so that way we have it. So we're putting this up against the wall, and then we're putting the electric motor right here. We go ahead and put the point on top, give it some power, and you can then hold, right click on here, and you can adjust the speed. So it's super slow, or it's ridiculously fast. We're just going to go ahead and leave that at 32, and then we can fill that back in, and now this is just going to be constantly running if we need it. Let's go ahead and make sure this is all configured though. There we go. So if we need more electrical motors, we can just come over here and put everything we need in here. We could automate this with something like Modular Routers to put each thing in here individually, or even Super Factory Manager, but I'm not worried about automating this, at least not yet. But now that we have that done, we can go ahead and come over here and let's put our electric motor there with a point. All right, so I know you're probably roasting me in the comments right now because I'm tired. I didn't think about it. We need to put water in front of the fan for it to wash. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to figure out why this wasn't working. And yeah, that's why I put the plates down to begin with. Oh boy. Yeah, it's definitely one of those days. All right, look at that. And now it's washing. So we're going to use one of the item pickups from Just Dire Things with a functional storage drawer. And then hopefully that finishes before it gets, there we go. Oh, that's not a blank vault lid. That is going to be the green vault lid. There we go. go ahead and set up a block here. And we'll just cover this up. And there we go. We're now washing the ball lids. And eventually we will completely run out of these. Which I think we're about to hit that. But now we have some green ball lids. And we need to set this exact same thing up with the half black apricorns. So I'm just going to set another one of these up just right here. And there we go. We have that set up for the black ball lids and the black dye. So now we need to make some blank ball lids. And all we need to do for that is blast one of our ball lids here to turn it into a blank ball lid. And that's what we're going to use the green ones for. To do that, we are going to use a netherite furnace with a blasting augment and a factory augment. Clear the configurations here. We want auto input and output on. We'll use an exporter. And with that exporter, we'll put it in the back. Make sure we set the back to input. And then we're going to set the top to output with a functional storage drawer. And run some cables over. And then for here, we're going to put the green ball lid. And as we can see, it's instantly going through. Let's make sure it turns split on. And we're getting our blank ball lids here. So let's configure and link that to our system. And we're going to use another song factory. And we're going to tell this that we want to send our yellow apricorn, our half yellow apricorns. And what this is going to do is start making it into these yellow apricorn bits. And then we're going to use a deployer and a depot to make our ultra ball lid. We could use an engraver, but to do that, we'd have to get into Oritech a little bit more to set this atomic forge up. So for now, we're going to do the depot and the deployer and try and automate it with some modular routers. So I think we should be able to get away with 3 modular routers for this. So we're going to have our polar module pull from here and send that into this modular router. And then we're going to take the sender, and I think if we right click on the deployer, we tell it to send, yep, it's going to start sending those bits to the hand here. And that's just going to fill up in the deployer. Then we'll use our pooler on the blank lids and we'll send it in here. And then our sender module should send it to the deployer. Ah, I forgot. That's not for the blank lid. Let's change that. Disconnect that from there, and we need to set that up over here for our black lids. I can get in here. There we go. I'm gonna pull from that. Hold on. If we right click here, set this to a white list and set it to black ball lid. Then we place it in here, and we need to make some range up augments. Those in our puller here. There we go. Perfect. We have our ultra ball lid, which we'll place in here. And then we just want to set up a pooler from the depot. And we want to set it to a whitelist for the ultra ball lid. Place it in here. And then we just want to send it to this functional storage. I gotta say, normally create is like the bane of my existence. I think it is the coolest mod. I think there's some crazy things that I've seen done with create, and it looks like something that's a ton of fun and I would love to play. That being said, it always looks so bad when I set it up. I can't get it to look nice and be functional. Being able to use modular routers with create is kind of game changing. I may actually start using create more since I can use modular routers to automate all this. This is awesome. But now that we have our blank ball lids, our ultra ball lids, our brass ball mechanisms, and well, iron rods are iron rods, we can now set up another assembler to start crafting ultra balls. So we're going to go ahead and just set this up just like we did before with all the different slots, but for everything that we need to do ultra balls. So 0 will be the brass ball mechanism, 1 will be the ultra ball lid, 2 will be the blank ball lid, and 3 will be the iron rod. And we just have to make sure to put a crafting card in with the iron rods. And that should start filling up. Oh, hold on. Do we have iron rods automated? We don't. Alright, so we just have to make a pattern for this. And let's wait and see. Here we go. Our first Ultra Ball. Beautiful. Go ahead and place a drawer here. Let's configure and link that. Let's grab our Ultra Balls and place them in here. And holy moly, we have Ultra Balls automated. This was a lot. This took some time and some figuring out. I apologize if this whole setup that I did is confusing or a mess. I tried to explain it the best I could because it was a learning experience for me as well. But we now have Ultra Balls automated. Let's go take on some gym battles to increase the level of our Pokemon because it's been a while and I'd like to absolutely demolish some of these trainers. I've gone ahead and made a ton of different items. These are all items that we need for our next gym battles. If we come into our quest line here, I just went through and crafted everything up to here. This one here requires a smoke ball and we don't quite have that yet, but we're able to craft everything else. So let's start knocking these gym battles out. Oh, that was a close one. On to the next one. And after 2 of those, we now have a couple evolutions to go through. Finally evolving our starter into Typhlosion. Looking good. And then Frigibax is evolving as well. And another one down. Next evolution. Pinkaton. Man, look at that hammer. Man, this animation's so cool. We have cleared out our list of trainers to battle. And that's going to be it for today's episode. All of our Pokemon are level 43 now. We got through a decent sized list of all the trainers we need to battle. And we now officially have Ultra Balls completely automated. And that was pretty fun to try and figure out. Moving forward, we are going to start fully working on the AllTheMons Star while getting some trainer battles going in between to push through this mod pack and get our AllTheMons Star crafted. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. Later.